we talked about it. If your painting were to be due tomorrow, bro, it would be people talking about things that you did in your life that they may not be talking about right now, or that you may think
Right.
was kind of just, something that you just did because you're who you are. But really, it's like you're an artist, bro. And people are always watching. People always are looking for inspiration for their own artwork. And it's like, we never know, like we can't explain our art until it's due, really. And then God will put us in positions sometimes where our artwork can reach people while we're here, and we can, see that impact happening. But I think the full impact lives on. Art only appreciates over time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Infinite Charge podcast. I'm your host, Malachi White.
And I am also your host, Mr. Tyre Jones.
Yeah, my boy Tahir is outside in nature. You know what I mean? Just it looks like a beautiful day outside. What's
Definitely,
that? What you got, a marathon shirt on or something? You got that at like a track meet?
Yeah, I got this from a thrift store.
Okay. There you
It is
go.
a marathon shirt.
Yeah. Well, that's tough, man. But yeah. So we're here with another episode. Today we have I'm sure you guys see the title of these all the time before you even click on it. But Tahir, I got a question for you, man. What do you think of when you see like just that, like when you hear paint your own picture or the title or whatever,
When
the
I think,
analogy?
when I think of paint your own picture,
Mhm.
I think of what is your perception? What is your point of view of life?
Right.
What is your purpose? Um, are you ready to paint? Are you the one with the paintbrush in your hand?
Yeah.
Because everybody painting and picture is unique for themselves. So it's important to be in spirit and in tune with yourself, also with God, to really get the best outcome of your painting.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a fact. Before you really dive deep into this analogy, because we definitely are, as we always do, let's take a moment for meditation, a quick prayer, and then we'll just get right into it. So let's go. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for bringing us back to another episode of Infinite Charge, dear God. Heavenly Father, we know that you are the master creator when it comes to all of our paintings, and you've given us the ability to make decisions with the paintbrush in our hands, dear God. And me and Tahir want to paint an accurate picture for the listener and the viewer today, and encourage them to continue to paint regardless of what's going on around them, and to continue to trust you and continue to just trust the process, dear God, because at the end of the day, your will be done, dear God, and you are going to position many people that you call, and people who are looking for information like Infinite Charge and other podcasts and positive stuff like that. They're going to be in positions where their paintings are going to shine bright and are going to impact many people. So I just want to pray to you, bless us with the right words to say in this moment. In your most precious name I pray, amen. Amen. So going into it, like you said before, I liked everything that you were saying before the prayer and the meditation about just paintings and about just the analogy. And instead of just outright saying, like, you ask a lot of questions to get us going and to get us thinking about the analogy. And what that's going to be a common theme with this episode is, like, when it comes to artwork, it's more so about questions rather than stating what you see per se. And really, we all are work of art. and are works of art in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, so just looking at this analogy, paint your own picture. Before we dive into it, I just want to mention the fact that this analogy has a dual nature to it, and it's kind of we're gonna be bouncing from like, you know, from both parts of the spectrum, even though they both play hand in hand. But pretty much paint your own picture could mean perspective, or it could mean life's work. But ultimately, paint your own picture means both things. It's just we're gonna use the analogy to explain perspective even more, and to also, you know, talk about our life's work and you know how that and purpose and you know things like that. But yeah. So as far as perspective, right? It's like we know that perspective is kind of like the lens or the picture that we can see, like how we see the world, and how we see life. Like I have a question for you, and I know that me and you talked about this yesterday when we were doing a Bible study and just chatting it up about life. But like, how do you feel like your perspective is right now?
My perspective of life,
Mm-hmm.
I see it as I see it as a learning experience. You know, really debunking all the things that we were taught when we were little, all the things that we believe just because someone else believes it. You know, we don't really question it. So right now in life, I've been looking at things positively. You know, even though it might not be positive, or if that makes sense. Let's say a situation happened that's unfortunate. I wouldn't stress about it like I used to, you know? I feel like God always has a plan, and all things really work together. So I just been learning a lot about life, keeping my mind open to new things, new beliefs, new practices. And that's where I'm at in life, you know?
Yeah.
Just want to be able to learn.
Yeah.
Now I can ask the same question to you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in a similar boat as you, man, as far as my perspective. I've taken the time to read a lot more and you know, think about different ideas as well. And really, it's like the more that I think about my perspective, I can't help but think about. And we have an episode entitled this, but I just can't help but just feel like all things working together for my good at all times. And I just can't help but, and even back to this analogy, even when I feel like I'm making a mistake on my paintbrush, I can't help but feel like that mistake is working together to tell a story in that painting.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's more so like the all things mindset is where I'm at. And I feel obviously, you know, when things happen, you feel a certain type of way, but it's that perspective. Once that perspective kicks in, you're able to put things in line and just see things for what it really is. And I feel the same way, bro. Like I'm at a point in my life where, you know, I'm keeping my mind open and allowing that to strengthen my relationship with God even more, and to you know, make my paint that much more potent, if that makes sense. But yeah, man. So just with this whole idea, perspective, and this analogy, we just have to mention right now that perspective is so vitally important, because it goes like perspective leads to thoughts, and then thoughts lead to your reality.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like could you like let's say if somebody has a bad, let's say if something happens, because we know that how does that go? Like life is 99% of our, what is it? Life is what? 1% of what happens to you and 99% of how you react to it. I don't know if that's the correct split. Yeah. I don't know if that's the correct split, but however, it's pretty much like anything could happen to you. And if you have the right perspective, it will lead to thoughts that lead to productive actions, which ultimately lead to a you know, a good reality. And a good reality isn't always perfect. It's just, it's you could be at peace because you know that your perspective was in the right place, your thoughts were ultimately in the right place, and it manifested a reality where you can be grateful.
Yeah. Malachi, when you say that, like, now that, I mean, we should all know that no one has a perfect life, no one has a perfect reality, right?
Right.
So why do we constantly care about other people's opinions and how other people view us? I mean, that right there should make you feel like you should be able to step out of your comfort zone and do whatever you want to do,
Right.
because no one's perfect. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, no one could really judge you but God.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? That's a good question. I feel like it's our flesh that wants us. And it's always that spirit versus flesh dynamic. That's going to be a constant theme with anything we talk about. But I think it's mostly the flesh that wants to feel connected with other people. And even spiritually, sometimes we want to feel connected, but sometimes for the wrong reasons, like because if something is missing in us, then we start to look for that in other people when we should really be looking for that in God. So
Right.
I feel like that's why, and we're going to talk about that. Like, even back to the analogy, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like sometimes if you aren't careful, you can allow the wrong people to influence your painting to the point to where if you start questioning yourself and looking at other people's artwork and wanting to be like somebody else or taking opinions from somebody who isn't the master creator or doesn't exactly know you like God knows you, then that can influence your painting ultimately. Well, at first it will influence your perspective, which we talked about, and perspectives can be influenced good or bad because there's people who can have a good influence on you, but it's just a matter of you know like, and this is easier said than done, but finding those people that you know you can trust and that can really speak life into you and to tell you when you're wrong, because that's something like, just because somebody criticizes you doesn't necessarily mean that it's from a bad place or that you know um they're hating on you. But then sometimes people actually do that, and that's something I'm still trying to learn in life right now, is like, because I'm somebody who, like, if somebody, like, I listen, you know what I mean? If somebody has something to say to me, like, I'll listen. It's just what will I allow that to change my perspective? And am I
Yeah.
supposed to allow that to change my perspective in that point in time?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So it's like finding a balance there, I would say.
I agree.
Who are some people in your life that you feel like have changed your perspective the most and have, like, who have kind of been in the back of your mind as you continue to, paint this picture or have your perspective set a certain way?
Uh, well, that's a good question. Um, I'm reading this book by James Allen, um, named "As a Man Thinketh,"
Mm,
and basically he just talks about what you think about is mainly who you are. How you think,
right.
the people that think about being sick or being weak, or
Mm,
the possibility of that. People who think about the possibility of being sick or weak or not having anything be the main people that end up living that reality. So
right.
you could really suppress positive thoughts into your subconscious,
Mm,
and then you'll see your outer reality start to change, bro. Like, you start to pick up on different things.
mm,
You start seeing different things. Just things just feel different. You don't
right.
look at things. You don't look at things from the negative perspective first. If
Right.
anything, you look at it from a neutral perspective, and you look at it as a learning experience. So James Allen is one of the authors that I've been reading lately, and he's really been talking to me a lot. in terms of
I love that,
perspective.
man. I love that. And I feel like one thing, and while you're talking, but when I first asked you the question, while you were thinking about it, I was pointing at myself because I was hoping, you know what I mean? I was hoping you'd be like, yeah, Matt, yeah, you know, Mally's one of them people that have helped me. And because I feel the same way about you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but we knew that, you know.
Yeah, nah.
That's why we got this podcast. Like, it's so much stuff that we talk about that's not said on this podcast, you know, that people just won't understand. So I feel like that didn't need to be said.
Nah, facts. But nah, like you said though, bro, like when you during your answer, it sounded like you was talking about like how big, how much environment plays a factor into our perspectives and how we look at things. And that's the thing. It's like if you are surrounding yourself with people who are neglecting their paintbrush and or who have a negative perspective about life and how things work, then you can't expect your painting to you know come out the right way or for you to make the best decision with your paintbrush. I feel like one thing and this like this analogy that we're basing this episode on, it works so well when you think of like just like very creative people and stuff. But this analogy works for all people because we all are works of art. We all were shaped and sculpted and molded as unique creatures, each and every one of us. But it's like if you put a creative person in and around other creative people, and it's like a certain type of synergy, certain type of energy, you know what I mean? People who are positive in their creativity, then you can take that with you. And I don't mean, you know, go around and find somebody to copy move for move, step for step. That just means, you know, if you could put yourself around the right people, then your purpose will slowly unravel itself and reveal itself to you, because of the fact that you are now seeking that energy.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, Malachi. Right on the nose.
Yeah. So now I have a question for you, like about that kind of like, just like when we talk about just being mindful of who we allow to influence our painting. It's like a question could be like, all right, this may not even necessarily be a question, but like we have down like do not paint for other people.
Right.
But I have a question for you, right? If our goal is to impact people and to, you know, bring people closer to finding the part of themselves that we are actively looking for, then why wouldn't we paint for other people?
When we say don't paint for other people, meaning don't let other people influence your painting. Like your painting is unique to yourself. So I mean, your painting will be able to speak volumes to other people. You have no control over that. You know, there's going to be people that like your message, and there's going to be people that doesn't like your message.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the whole purpose. Like I feel like that's my purpose. Being able to spread what I know at my young age, at 19 years old, you know, onto other people, just spread positivity, you know.
Right.
I feel like that's my purpose. I just want to help people out. I want to help people out, and let's say, I want to help people that's willing to learn or wanting help, you know.
Facts.
Those are the people I want to help. And I feel like you helped me with that because you're something similar. Like you're a people's person. You want to help. So I feel like me surrounding myself with you,
right,
it's just a big plus, and we're gonna keep continuing planting seeds with this podcast.
Certainly, brother. I feel the same way. And like you said, it's not that, you know, we aren't thinking about other people when we're painting. It's just that we are trusting God, because and let me establish this, like with this analogy, when we say master, creator, whatever, God made us to be co-creators, meaning that we have free will. Even though the master creator knows our fate, we have free will to ultimately change our fate. Even though like sometimes our fate is we get signs of our fate and what it is that we're called to do, purpose and
Right.
stuff like that, but we still
Right.
have the free will to choose that. You can still
Right.
choose
Right.
a different fate, you know what I mean?
Right.
So when I say we're co-creators, meaning like you know, the master creator knows what he's going to do with your painting,
Yes,
but
it's
you
already
have
set
free
in
will
stone.
to, yeah, you have
Yeah.
free will to create that thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I just wanted, so looking at this, looking at this whole point of do not paint for other people, it's not that we don't care about other people. It's just that we care more about the master creator and the purpose that he's given us
Yeah.
as
We
co-creators.
care. We care more about God speaking through us.
Right.
Notice
Right.
the spirit being through us, and now we're able to give that charge off to other people out in the world.
Exactly. Exactly. And then another thing is like when you fall into the trap of painting for other people, then your painting never has the type of impact that it probably should have, because
Sure, yeah.
when you get caught in the trap of painting for other people,
Yeah.
you start to focus on the people that don't understand your artwork and probably never will understand your artwork.
Yeah.
And you lose sight of your
And then
purpose.
you won't understand it
Right.
because it wasn't naturally from you.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like too much outside influence per se.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
feel like all of our artworks would be critiqued by other men, because only God could know, you know, only God knows like just the true meaning of our artwork and the purpose of it and stuff like that. So yeah, not definitely. And it's like, I know how we did the episode Shut Up and Trust the Process. We talk about that episode a lot. I feel like with noise, sometimes that could kill the creative process, because artists, you know how artists like to, maybe they go out, absorb some inspiration from nature or from other artwork, but then they have to pull themselves out of that and allow that to sit with them in silence. But like, why do you feel like noise sometimes? Why do you feel like people think that they can use noise to better their artwork when really it's like you kind of need like silence and peace?
I mean, for some people, noise may benefit them. But for me personally, I feel best. I feel like I'm at my best works when I'm not distracted and I'm focused and locked in on my purpose and just becoming 1% better every single day.
Right.
But like we all know, everybody is different. A lot of people could feel the drive to be better just from listening to other people's opinions.
Right.
You know,
Right.
some people might use critique, or what's that word where it's like just negative. Like
For
criticism.
criticism.
Some people use criticism to be better and
Right.
to drive them and motivate them to push higher and go further.
Yeah. Now that's true. I mean, anything could be used like that. And so that's like perspective, like just having the right perspective means a lot, because when you have the right perspective, then you kind of get intuition on who you should be listening to and who you shouldn't be listening to.
Right.
And even
And
when you have the right
that's the
perspective,
thing.
yeah, even
That's
when you
the
hear
thing.
the
But
wrong people, then because you had a right perspective, even what that wrong person said was put in a perspective, and you got better because of that.
and that's why it's important to be in tune with God, because He gives you the intuition and you know what to
Right.
do and what not to do. If you're not in
Facts.
tune, if you're just distracted, I mean, you're just going to be thinking everything is handled, but you're really losing control of the steering wheel at the end of the day, and you don't even know it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. So that's the perspective side of things. And a lot of what we talked about is ultimately life's work, but it's just thinking about it, thinking about our paintings as, our life. Like every day we get up, we have the brush in our hand and we're painting something new. And ultimately one day that canvas is going to be complete. We don't know just how much space we have left on that canvas, we don't, who knows, maybe some people's canvases will be due tomorrow, next month, next year. We never know. But it's like, thinking about it, it's like when we look at it as our life's work, nobody has the same journey. Everybody's path is different. And that's why I feel like everybody's artwork is unique in some way, shape, or form. And we just have to continue to remember that, and allow that to shape our perspective, because of the fact that it's like, yo, like our artwork everybody's artwork tells a story. So who is somebody to tell you that your story is wrong, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. But that, like, that's the thing. And it's like, you know, true artwork, it really can't be explained until it's due. And then sometimes, you know, like, there are people that are famous for the value that they've added to the world, and we give them their flowers now. But just think about how everybody is an artist in some way, because if you go to a funeral, you know what I mean, you get to hear about some of the amazing things that the person did with their paintbrush, and you might not have known the person like that. I'm talking about, like, just most, just, you know, people who would be considered regular by today's society standards. It's like they're artists in their own way, because even if it's just one or two things, two positive things that they've added to the world or done in their lives, their art has affected somebody to the point to where that person is at their funeral, and thinking about and reflecting on what this person did with their paintbrush. Meaning, like, yo, like we talked about it. If your painting were to be due tomorrow, bro, it would be people talking about things that you did in your life that they may not be talking about right now, or that you may think was kind of just, you know, something that you just did because you're who you are. But really, it's like, you're an artist, bro. And people are always watching. People always are looking for inspiration for their own artwork. And it's like, we never know, like, we can't explain our art until it's due, really. And then God will put us in positions sometimes where our artwork can reach people while we're here, and we can, you know, see that impact happening. But I think the full impact lives on. You know, art only appreciates over time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that. Art only appreciates that over
Yeah,
time.
man. Yeah, man. Hey, you put me on some of these financial folks, bro. They say art is an asset, man. Got to get a hold of it. It seemed like when some of these artists bite the dust, you know, they work just go up, like the price go up, man. So
yeah, I ain't really looking to art like that, but
yeah, but I mean, you're into the assets and stuff. So
I mean,
I'm
it is
looking
an
at art
asset.
as an
Yeah.
asset. What's
Yeah,
that?
it is an asset. It is an asset.
Definitely. But it's like I said before, man, it's like, you know, sometimes other people can be confused by our art, and sometimes we can be confused by our own art, to the point where it's like, you know, like we sometimes we want to look at the picture, but we can't see the complete picture. So we focus on, you know, some of the mistakes that we might have made, and we think that we're actually like messing up our artwork, when really it's like, we aren't the master creator. The master creator, I view God as like somebody who, you know, goes in and has like all of the cheat codes to where you're thinking that you made a misstep, and it's like, oh no, I'll just position you here, it's fine.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
That's how you should view life, bro. Like,
Yes.
just like that. Like, there's no need. God didn't put us on this earth to stress,
Right.
and, you know, worry. You're not living life, bro.
Facts. Yeah, that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. It's like, and that comes down to perspective, meaning, like, when I said earlier, my perspective where I'm at right now is just the all things mindset, all things work together for my good. It's like, when that kicks in, it could be the worst situation. And it's like, you know what? All right, God, I know I took this bright yellow paint and did a streak across, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't mean to do that. And it looks crazy right now. But you're going to do something with that bright yellow streak, and it's going to tell a story ultimately over time, when people get to when I get to step back and see my artwork before you collect it, and when people get to see my artwork like from afar, to see everything that's on that canvas. That misstep, that bright yellow streak, whatever mistake, it's gonna add a lot of character to it, and it's gonna tell a story.
And it means a lot more because you learn from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah, and it's like I said, like what we view as mistakes, I mean, ultimately, just be a part of the bigger picture. And I mean, they have to be, because everything happens for a reason. So every mistake is it happens for a reason. We have free will, but it's like, even with our free will, I feel like God knows us so much that he knows what we're gonna do, with the mistakes we're gonna make, the good things that we're gonna do. So everything happens for a reason. And then just last but not least, is like, true art takes time, man. It takes time. I feel like nowadays with social media and stuff like that, people get caught up into the trap of instant gratification, and they want to rush their artwork.
True art does take time. It takes patience. It takes discipline. Malachi, you agree on that, right?
Definitely. Rome wasn't built overnight, so it's and I think the more time we put into our art, the more that we could pay attention to those fine details that people are not people that people tend to overlook sometimes, and we tend to lock in on those moments where if we're so focused on the instant gratification side of things, we wouldn't view certain moments as valuable. But when we accept the time, the fact that our artwork is going to take time, then we can lock in on those little things and just make it just pop that much more, add so much more texture to the art that we're creating.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So my advice would be to anyone, don't go searching for instant gratification. Don't try to follow the hype train. Don't have the sheep mentality, the herd mentality.
Right.
And just be who you are, and experience life for what it is.
Facts.
That would be my advice at my age, at 19. Patience. That's the only way you're really gonna get through things, man. Patience and persistence. Even though you may not see the bigger picture, keep that brush in your hands and try your best to make it work. God is gonna be alongside you throughout the process. God's with you at all times, and all things can be done through Christ.
Facts.
That's what I believe. So, learning patience, hanging around the right people that better you and spark ideas. That's the way to go.
Definitely. I feel like art. Art definitely takes patience, and life in a way, and everything around us in a way is can be considered art. Because of the fact that it was an idea in somebody's mind, and they were able to execute it. We were an idea in God's mind. He executed us, and brought us to fruition here. And now we all are co-creators, and we all have the ability to create and to be artists. And the best way to go about that, like you said, is to just to surround yourself with the right people, get the inspiration, and get the creative juices flowing, and then to just trust the process throughout the way, because it's when it comes to painting a picture, it would be hard for somebody to paint two identical paintings. Now obviously there's photocopies, but even that's not the real thing. Like to sit there and your hand, like to create the exact same thing with your hand, you know what I mean? It would be hard. So it's like just accepting the fact that those mistakes are what makes that art special, and what makes your life's work special. And just to close out, it's like the closing thought is, like I said before, we never know when our painting is due. Like it could be due tomorrow. What would that say about you? Obviously, like, we put pressure on ourselves to go to the top of the mountain. But some people's paintings, you never know what it'll be used to do. Maybe you might have felt like your painting was complete, but God is like, nah, this is beautiful. I'm going to use this to inspire another artist who will go and reach millions. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, in a way, you're still reaching millions, even though you felt like you weren't.
You inspired somebody to go reach millions.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be you necessarily.
Right.
Just
right.
play a role.
Yeah. That's so true, man. It's you never know when it's due, and you never know what it'll be used to do. You never even know what it'll be used to do while you painting it, you know? I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of painting your own picture, because it's yours while you're painting it, but ultimately when God is ready to take that thing and put it on display in some area or you know, use it to inspire people, he's going to do that. And you have no say over who's inspired by it or not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, that is our take on painting your own picture. We encourage everybody to keep that brush in their hands and, you know, to just keep chipping away every day, keep, you know, and trying new things and not being afraid of misstepping, because it's the act of being bold and courageous and doing different things with the paintbrush that will make your painting that much more impactful and inspiring. Yeah. Any other thoughts you have on this, brother?
That's enough, man. That was inspiring for myself too.
Certainly, man. Well, this has been yet another episode of the Infinite Charge podcast. Be easy, stay charged.
Be blessed, man. Perfect.